Hello, and welcome to the Retro Video Game Podcast. This will be a weekly podcast about games, news, and every other talk that you could think of for each Monday, every Monday that it does come out. Now, this will be coming to you straight from either YouTube, Stitcher, Podbean, and iTunes, however you are getting your content for this podcast. You will get this all over that. Now, I will be kind of running down kind of the list that I'll be talking about in this video and slash podcast, because I will probably say video instead of podcast a bunch of times because this is my very first one. So just bear with me because that will definitely happen. Now, I've got some cool things. I've got some recent pickups I want to talk about. I want to talk about some games releasing this week, some crazy stuff that I did to GameStop this weekend, the Switch Lite, Minecraft being interesting, PewDiePie hitting 100 million, and some other non-related gaming things like Popeyes feuding with Chick-fil-A and that going off, as well as this James Charles storm that has just taken over Twitter and been immensely comical and something that I have very much been laughing about since I found out about it, honestly. But we're going to start off with some of my recent picks in just a second, but I want to kind of tell you why this formed. Now, this is something that I've been kind of toying with the idea of starting a podcast, and I think I'm right in that kind of mindset of I'm perfect to be able to take that step into the podcast, but also have enough time to sit down and do it, and hopefully do it right, and hopefully entertain you guys. Now, if you're watching this, cool. If you're listening to this, that is as well as great. Now, when I talk about my recent pickups, I will be showing them on camera, but I will make sure to describe them as well as I can for those listeners, just because this is something new to me and I want you to be very happy and be very entertained. So with that being said, I will go ahead and dig right into this pile of games that I have on this desk next to me, and we will talk about it. Now, I'm going to talk about my most recent pickup that is actually a console first, and then we will go on to the games, and I'll tell you kind of what I'm looking forward to and what I think I'm going to do and be happy with some of this stuff. Now, first off is this Super Mario Maker 2DS that I bought on Mercari. There's a video out on my YouTube channel if you're interested in that as at all. I do have that as well. I talk about how I got it and everything, but this is a beautiful 2DS with the yellow and red. I think it is just done very well. Now, on the front, there is a little pixelated Mario, and that honestly is the whole reason I bought this, because whenever I saw it, I knew that I just had to have that little Mario, and honestly, I am very glad that I picked this up. Now, all the accents are the buttons and the D-pad and the start and select button, and everything like that. They're all red, which is very awesome. It really stands out from this actual yellow, and I love that about it. Now, on the back, there's something I want to complain about, but also there is a huge Super Mario Maker logo that is very cool, and I'm very happy about. However, if you guys are listening to this and you cannot see this, there is a big, huge brown streak right in the middle on the back. And I know it's a brown line to specify what Mario looked like when he was first created in the 1980s, but this brown line is just tacky, it is ugly, and I am very, very happy that it is on the back and not the front of this, because if it was on the front, I would be very, very sad about it, but it's just on the back, so I am okay with that. Now, I bought this used, so it does not have the pin or the stylus, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to complain there. I really hardly ever use that anyways, so I'm not complaining about that at all. That was a pickup that I was very happy to pick up. Next, I found Doom on the Sega Genesis 32X, which is very awesome. Now, I did not get the manual with it. I just got the cartridge, but for how much it was, I want to say it was like $10. This is a pretty sweet game, and I am stoked to play it on my 32X. Now, I will state I have no clue if this is going to be good or not, so that will be, I guess, up to me. I'll have to try this out and figure it out, but that is something that I think is awesome because Doom is a great game. Now, recently they released the trilogy for Doom on the Nintendo Switch, but playing it on a Sega 32X is going to be ridiculous. So I saw that and I was very happy about that. Next, I picked up Star Wars Racer Revenge, which is very awesome looking. I haven't actually played it, which is a bummer, but I plan to, and I plan to have a ton of fun with this. Now, this reminds me of Star Wars Racer Episode 1, and I saw this, and I knew I had to pick it up. Now, it is complete. It has the manual. The manual has some wear to it, but nothing too crazy there. The artwork on the back actually looks pretty decent. Now, I have a PlayStation 2 upscaler. This is actually on the PlayStation 2 for those who are listening, but I have an upscaler that'll take my PlayStation 2 and move it to HDMI, and I am super stoked to try that with this because honestly, I think this is going to be very awesome, and I think it could be very cool. So, I saw that, I grabbed it, and I knew I had to have it when that happened. Next, I picked up a game I have been searching for, and honestly, when I say I have been searching for this game, I truly mean it. I have not been able to find it for a decent deal. Now, I paid like $13 or $14 for this, which isn't a solid deal, but it was about the average fair market value and what I could find it either selling for or price charting, and so I was okay with paying that, and that is God of War Ghost of Sparta for the PlayStation Portable. I know not a lot of people are playing the Portable nowadays, which is kind of a shame, but I picked this up and I'm super stoked. Now, it is complete. It has the manual and the game and everything there. The manual looks like it has never been used, honestly, and that is pretty sweet. But I recently played through the one before this, God of War Chains of Olympus, and I absolutely fell in love with that, and I knew that I had to pick this up and play it because I had so much fun with that as well. So I definitely wanted to pick this up when I saw it, and I know I paid probably more than I would have wanted to, but I am not complaining there at all. Next, I picked up Sonic Team Racing on the Nintendo Switch, and it has a little insert with it, which is actually kind of surprising, telling you to buy stuff. It wasn't anything great. On the other side of it was actually a Sega Sonic Mania Plus advertisement, so that was cool. Seeing something kind of inside that Nintendo Switch pack is awesome because you don't oftentimes see that. I didn't pay retail for this. I paid like $25 for it. So that's not a terrible deal, but I do think I could have made maybe just a little bit better deal. But when I saw it, I picked it up, and I'm pretty happy about that. And last but not least, before we move on to the next topic, is Spyro Reignited Trilogy, and that is on the Xbox One. Now, this has Spyro 1, 2, and 3, and I am super stoked to grab this and play it, and honestly, it looks freaking amazing. I know that I will play this and have a ton of fun, and I hope that if you guys get this game, you like it, and you let me know what you think about it, because honestly, this is a game that I love playing as a kid, and I am super duper stoked about getting this, and so I am just happy that I picked it up. Now, I know it was a little late, but I was very happy to have picked that up, honestly, and so I saw that and I just had to have it. I may have liked it on another system like the Switch, but for the Xbox One, I'm happy to have picked that up. Next, we are going to talk about the games releasing this week, and I want to kind of do this on every podcast that I can, and I know I'm probably not going to have a whole huge list every week, but I want to pick out 2 or 3 games that I definitely think are intriguing, or games that I definitely want to pick up, because that is something that I see a lot, is games are always coming out and games are always being released and people are always talking about them, but I never kind of sit down and figure out what games I want to pick up unless they're huge titles. And honestly, at least 2 of these games I'm going to pick up soon. If not this week, maybe next week, or within the month I'll probably pick these up. Now, there are 3 games that are releasing, and I'll go by release date just that way you guys can kind of be prepared. The first one is Wreckfest, and that has already came out on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. It is actually being released on the Nintendo Switch, and honestly, it looks super fun. It is coming out on August 27th. Now, if you guys liked Destruction Derby or games like that, this is definitely a game for you. Now, I sat back and watched this before putting this podcast together, and I was really, really intrigued by how it looked. Now, I will state this game has a bunch of cool cars, but they also have motorized couches. You literally are controlling couches. Now, I want to play this game, and I originally wanted to play it when it came out on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. Never got around to it, but now that it's coming out to the Switch, I'm definitely picking this up. Whether or not it's on the Switch or not will depend on how much it is on those other consoles. I'm not quite sure what platform I do want to pick it up for. But it looks absolutely amazing. It looks freaking ridiculous. If you guys played the PlayStation 3, you probably played MotorStorm. It came with a bunch of systems. It was bundled for so long. And honestly, it was one of the first games that I played on the PlayStation 3 because it was a demo game in Walmart. I remember when they were talking about the PS3 coming out and MotorStorm was out there, and I knew that I had to play this game. Because once you smashed into something, the car goes crazy, blows apart and all that. And I am a gamer that liked to play racing games and smash the cars up and just destroy stuff, and it was absolutely fun. However, this I think is going to be exactly what I want whenever I think of a Destruction Derby game. I look back at Destruction Derby 64 on the Nintendo 64, and honestly, I love playing that game. However, the graphics are not great. They're actually pretty terrible. It's hard to see what's coming at you when you're going super fast, and when you crash into things, it's not all that realistic. You just take damage, and then your car smokes, and then it catches on fire. But I'm very much looking forward to see how this game plays, and I think it'll be something that I definitely enjoy. I will probably sink way too much time into it, just driving around and destroying things. Now, it looks like you could race with buses, you could race with like double-decker cars. It was like a car on top of another car, and that was just something that blew my mind and was absolutely amazing, and it looks really good. So, the first game I'm going to tell you guys to go check out that's on my radar is Wreckfest. Now, I know it's an older game, and you've probably heard about it, but it's something that I definitely missed, and I am very excited to play. Now, the next one, I'm not going to talk about it too much, just because I think you probably already know kind of what it is, but that is Blair Witch, which is coming out on the Xbox One and PC, I believe, on August 30th. And honestly, I watched this trailer and some of the reviews coming in. It ridiculously reminds me of the movie. I put on my notes, crazy like the movie. It looks like it's going to be shaky. It looks like it's going to be scary. There's going to be jump scares. It looks wild. Now, I think don't correct me if I'm wrong, or do correct me. I don't care. Whatever you want to do. I think you actually have a camcorder with you part of the time too, which is absolutely crazy to think about, and honestly is something I think is absolutely crazy. So I think that's awesome, and we will see how that goes in the future. I'm not going to talk about it too much more. It's a horror game. It looks like fun. I might pick it up. I might not. It'll depend on the price and what other games I have going on. But I think Blair Witch is definitely one that if you like horror games, you definitely have to have this one on your list. Now, last but not least is a game that is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. It has been getting rave reviews. It releases on August 30th, and that is Astral Chain. Now, this thing looks absolutely insane. I put on my notes, it looks great and looks like a ton of fun. And I will say, watching those kind of early reviews / trailers of this thing, it definitely is not going to disappoint. The graphics look insane. I like the color palette that they went with. It's bright, it's neon. I think it's just going to be a cool thing on the Switch, taking this on the go, which you'll hear me say 100,000 times is awesome because I love the Nintendo Switch because you can pick it up and take it wherever you want to. So that is something I think is absolutely cool. But getting into kind of the game mechanics and stuff like that, I put on my notes, Monster Hunter World on crack. Now this thing looks like it is going to be totally awesome. It looks insane. The graphics look cool. It looks like you are taking on monsters like Monster Hunter and kind of taking them out. It looks like you have your player and then kind of like a temporary like teammate kind of sidekick thing going on. I don't know 100% about that, but it looked like you could use him to do other attacks and kind of wrap up your opponent and hold on to them for a few seconds and things like that. And honestly, this game looked like something that I would absolutely love to play. So I am definitely on the lookout for this game. I should probably pick it up sooner or later, and hopefully I do, but I'm not quite sure how that is going to work yet. So I wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. Those are the 3 games that I think are going to be great games that come out this week. Now, this is a new podcast and everything about that, but I hope to be able to take this and get better games and let you guys know kind of what's coming up. Maybe either that week or that month, I'll have a reoccurring segment here where I do talk about games because for me, all the games that are coming out, it just becomes difficult to stay up with the games that are coming out, the games that came out, and games I'm interested in or not interested in or whatever. So I kind of wanted to give you guys kind of the 3 or whatever the amount that week that I think you definitely need to check out, even if that means just looking them up and watching the trailer or actually watching reviews or getting it or figuring it out if you like it yourself. So I wanted to take a little bit and talk about those. That way you guys could know kind of what's coming up. Now, I'll probably talk about more Switch games at this point, but whenever more whenever more Xbox or PlayStation games come out, I'll definitely talk about those as well. And maybe some PC games if they're big enough to talk about. I'm not a huge PC gamer, so we'll see how that goes. The next topic is GameStop's $5 extra sale. This was absolutely ridiculous, and this is kind of going to roll into the next topic as well a little bit, but I want to talk about something I did this week, and unfortunately, when this is going up, this sale is going to be already ended, which is a big shame. I wish I could have let you guys know prior to it, but I took it and did this on the very last day of the sale, so I almost missed it myself, and this was an $5 extra trade-in credit. And when I say GameStop extra trade-in credit, you guys are probably turned off. I mean, it's GameStop. No one loves GameStop. Everyone seems to love to hate them. But I digress. GameStop has some good deals occasionally, and this trade-in was one of those deals that I absolutely took advantage of. And when I say took advantage, I mean I ended up with $108 trade-in credit for taking 12 games up there. And I'll tell you what I did. Now, the premise of this trade-in credit was any game worth $2 or more, you would get $5 extra worth. So I have a video coming out this week talking about this on my YouTube channel. But a little insight is that if you took in a game worth $2, you would get $7 of trade-in credit, which was absolutely crazy. At the end of it, the lady asked me, would you like $108 in trade credit or $36 in cash? And I immediately, like you guys know, took the trade credit because I had better purpose for this. Now, I took in games that weren't all that great, honestly. Some of them were decent games, they just weren't valuable. So that's why I decided to take them in. I took in some old games that I had for the PS2, I took in a game from the NES, I took in a few Nintendo 64 games. All the stuff that I took in was relatively common, nothing crazy. Now, some of the games I got in other bundles or big packs that I just didn't really want or need, and so trading them in for $10 or $15 or $7 was well worth it to me, and I didn't have to deal with trying to sell them or deal with other people or all that kind of stuff. It was done right there. So I took in 12 games, got $108 of trade credit. Now, what I'm going to do with that trade credit, you'll find out in a second, but that meant I got $9 worth of trade credit for every single game if I averaged them out. Now, there were a few that were $14, $15, and then there are a few that were $7, but honestly, I'm super duper stoked to be able to have done that. These were games that I didn't need. I already either had them or I didn't want them. They were cheap games. All of them were valued under $10. And what I usually do is take games into GameStop if I can get the same value or more with trade credit. And that really matters to me because obviously you guys probably do the same thing. You buy new games. And what I like to do is take in those games that I get in bundles that I may not care about, I may not want. They may be worth $4. If I can take them to GameStop and get $5 or $6 or $7 or $8 or $10, I'm going to definitely do that. So that is definitely what I did here, and I think that is what kind of solidifies what I did, is trading them in. I made a video of it. I tried to get some footage actually in the store, but I ended up having to stop footage so I could show them kind of they did take some games. So what happened was a few of the PlayStation 2 games, the cashier was like, oh, sorry, we don't take this. Well, we don't take this. We don't take this. We don't take this. And I was like, I already did my research. I know you guys take this game. So I pulled out my cell phone, and I'm sure they hate when people do this, but I wanted to make sure I got my money's worth here and that they kind of stuck to their word. It's kind of the principle. If you're going to say online that you do something, you might as well do it. So I showed them on my phone that, hey, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is worth $2. So I got $720, $770, something like that for it in trade-in value, which I had a pro membership card, so that boosted me up 10%, like 70 cents, something like that. And so that really benefited me because I was able to take my cell phone out, show them how much they should be offering and everything, and that benefited me as well. So if you're gonna do this, make sure you sit at home with either your phone or your laptop out and you're checking those prices and you check the values. Never go into GameStop with games that you don't know how much you're going to get because they're going to offer you something you don't want and you're just going to be wasting your time and their time. So make sure you definitely do that. That's something I think I enjoy doing because I can sit down, figure out the value of it, and say, okay, this is a $10 game. GameStop will give me $10, or I can spend time trying to sell this and trying to get $10. Maybe I'll get $9, maybe I'll get $12. Usually I'll take the safe bet. I'll take that $10 because honestly, I probably paid $4 to $5 for that game, max. I'll take that in to trade in and I'll get something new. Which pivots me to the next point. Nintendo Switch Lite. I am super duper stoked about that, and honestly, I am going to use all of this and actually use that trade credit and go towards the Nintendo Switch Lite, which releases September 20th of this year, which is actually in like 25 days, less than a month, we will have the new Nintendo Switch Lite, which is something I am dying to have and something that just absolutely looks ridiculous, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, the Switch, it's not a Switch because you can't switch it. I see that, and I understand what you're talking about, but I think this is a perfect thing for Nintendo to do. From what I've heard, the buttons are better on this. They're more like the buttons on that Pro Controller that you have if you have a Switch Pro Controller by Nintendo. Those are better quality than the buttons on the Joy-Con, so that's one thing that I like to see. Next is the battery life. Now, I've heard the battery life is exponentially better, and even the new Nintendos Switches that they've been releasing that are kind of under the cuff, that they really haven't been announcing much about it, those have even gotten better based on the processor. So I'm very super happy about this. Now, I kind of wish they had a little bit better designs, but I get what they're doing. I like the gray, I like the teal, I like the yellow, and I like that Pokemon one. Honestly, if the Pokemon one was coming out the same day, I would pick it up, but I don't believe it is. So I am going probably with the teal one or the gray one. Now, the yellow one, don't get me wrong, it reminds me of the old Game Boys, and so do the other ones, but I just kind of don't like that color. I talked about this 2DS, this Super Mario Maker 2DS, as being yellow. That's kind of a brighter yellow, but I don't see this Nintendo Switch Lite being that kind of yellow, so I want to pass on that. The gray, I kind of like, but I kind of don't like. I kind of want to get it because whenever I got my Switch, I got the gray console version, with the gray Joy-Cons at least. But I don't think that is probably a good idea for me to go with, just because of kind of the way it is. Now, with that being said, I cannot complain too much, because obviously I'm going to get one of these things. But I think the teal is probably the best color for me, because I like the blue, I like the way it looks, and it looks very nice. So with that being said, I'm definitely excited about that new Switch Lite, and I think it is something that I think a lot of people are kind of underestimating. What I'm going to do is get it day one, put a video up on the channel, maybe talk about it on the podcast, do stuff like that for you guys, because I know that stuff like this is really something that could really make or break you if you only have $200. I think this Nintendo Switch Lite is going to be totally perfect for you, and is going to save you a bunch of money in the long run, because you're not going to have to worry about buying that dock or Joy-Cons or a Pro Controller. You're just going to have the tablet and be able to take it where you want to. So I think, in my opinion, this looks like the PlayStation Vita, and honestly, I love that about it. I love the PS Vita, and I think that's going to solidify this for Nintendo, and it's going to be very awesome when that does happen for them, and I am very stoked about it. So, we're kind of getting towards the non-related gaming stuff. Now, there's a few gaming-related things here towards the end, and then some that aren't related, but I want to talk about Minecraft being prevalent or relevant on YouTube here, and it's something that I think is very interesting, because this was something that almost seemed like it died away. These Let's Play YouTubers were playing Minecraft hard. People were getting huge about it. Like Mr. Beast even started off playing Minecraft. You've got PewDiePie. You've got huge creators that started with this. And honestly, I'm very interested to see kind of where it goes. Now, I know some people are going to be like, oh, it's Minecraft. That's a child's game. That sucks and whatever. The one thing I love about Minecraft, and I say this from the outside, I've played Minecraft very minimally, so this is a great place for me to stop and explain to you a little bit about this podcast or anything about it. If you like this or you want to know more about it, check out my YouTube, Retro Video Game Pickups, youtube.com/retro video game pickups. Check out my Twitter, which is also RVGP Reviews. I couldn't get Retro Video Game Pickups, which is a shame. It was too long, but I digress. I have a Facebook, Retro Video Game Pickups, as well. Also, Instagram. I got over 16,000 followers on there, Retro Video Game Pickups. Still, yet again, is my name. Check that out if you're interested. I post at least one picture a day, sometimes multiple pictures or videos, depending on how things kind of went. But I want to say, if you are interested in donating whatsoever, you don't have to, but I want to let you know the sponsor of this is patreon.com/retrovideogamepickups. Down below, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll have the link to all of this. If you are watching this on iTunes or Podbean or Stitcher, you're not watching this, you're actually listening to it, there should be somewhere in the description, there a bio or something like that, there will actually be a link to all this. So I want to say, before we go back into the podcast, I want to say thank you for watching. And if you're interested in any of that, make sure you hit me up on Twitter and comment down on YouTube if you want to. Twitter is a great place to say, hey, I watched this, I listened to it, I like this, I didn't like this, here's some new ideas that I want you to cover. So with that being said, let's get back into the podcast. Well, it looks like we reached the 30-minute mark. So what I'm kind of going to do is kind of go back and kind of make sure that things are right again. Now, I'll probably splice something in right before this, maybe some kind of sponsor deal or reference to a shirt or something like that. So that is probably the reason why I have cut that there, is the camera that I'm using ends at 30 minutes, and that's just kind of how this goes. But this Minecraft thing is something that is very amazing to me. I like this idea because Minecraft can literally be whatever you want it to be, and those videos that are being released can be 100% the same or different depending on the day, depending on who's playing them, and everything like that. So I think this is something that is very, very interesting and could be something very awesome, because you see people creating wild things on Minecraft, and it's something that I honestly have played a little bit of it. I basically took what I could and just destroyed stuff. I know that's probably the worst thing to do, but whatever. I was just screwing around and having fun, so I did that. But I think Minecraft is one of those things that I think it might be kind of one of those timeless games that YouTubers are able to keep playing, and Let's Players are able to keep playing, and people will be interested. I say Let's Players because there's people on Twitch and other streaming sites as well that do play this, and I think it is very interesting, and I'm very interested to see how it kind of plays out with that, if it's just going to fall flat or if it's going to keep booming like it has. Now, I have some things that people don't like about it. They say it's childish or it's just boring. I don't know what to do. Those people, I think this game isn't for them. This game is for those creative people that just want to go out and play and build and just really have fun. And I think this is a great game for that. And I think Minecraft is something that is going to be a game that's kind of in kind of the top 5 or top 10 most games played here for a while, and relevant games. So I think that's very interesting. And I think YouTube in general is very interesting to see games like this still around. With, I'm going to drop some names of people that I've watched or know that have played it. I'm talking about Yub. If you guys don't know who Yub is, I'm actually friends with Dylan. We used to be friends and past before YouTube and all that. So I definitely think you need to check out Yub, because that is a channel. He grinds, and he is always making the most ridiculous memes and edits and all that crazy stuff. So go check out Yub. It is YUB if you were checking it out. Also, Mr. Beast started on this. He is a huge creator at this point. If you don't know who Mr. Beast is, you're definitely missing out. He started with Minecraft, changed to Call of Duty, and then started doing these weird and wacky extreme stunts. And I think that got him to where he is now, and it has just taken his career freaking exponentially. He's over 10 million subs now, the last time I checked, and he's just killing it. He recently put out a video, and he tweeted about it, that he got 10 million views in the first 24 hours or the first 12 hours. It was absolutely insane, and that is something that is crazy. So you guys, if you're looking for big YouTubers that are creative and doing some wild stuff, Mr. Beast is absolutely doing a great job. And PewDiePie, last but not least, we're talking about PewDiePie, which rolls us to the next topic on this, and that is PewDiePie hit 100 million subscribers this week, and that is absolutely insane. This is the first person, PewDiePie is the first person to actually hit 100 million subscribers. Now that is absolutely insane because yes, there are other channels that have hit 100 million, but those are brands or record labels or something that is kind of a conglomerate, whereas Felix is one streamer, or one gamer, I guess I can say. I don't want to say streamer because he does more than that. Now, if you love him, if you hate him, does not matter. You know that Felix is working hard and PewDiePie is always crushing it. That man puts in so much work. He deserves everything he has gotten so far. If you like him, if you hate him, you gotta at least respect him for all the hard work he is putting in. And I think he needs to keep doing it because he is grinding hard and it is doing wonders for his career. And I think it is something that is absolutely incredibly awesome, and he needs to definitely keep it up. Now, I know I am not someone to give him advice because obviously look at him, but keep it up, Felix. You're doing a great job. Now, we're wrapping this thing up. We're down to probably the last 10 to 15 minutes of this podcast. I don't know how long I'm going to make these things. I'm just going to roll with them based on kind of the topics I have and everything. But we're down to the last bit, and these are topics that are not gaming related that happened this week and that are absolutely hilarious. If I find things on Twitter or wherever and I think they're funny, I will make note and bring them to you guys every week because absolutely this is insane. Now, first off is Popeyes and Chick-fil-A. Now, if before last week you would have told me people would have wanted to eat at Popeyes, I probably would have laughed at you because the Popeyes near me is always not busy. No one cares about it. It's not even in the top 5 of chicken places in my area, honestly. In my city, there's probably 5 better places that I can think of, but they've done it. And I want to say, first off, marketing is proof. This is proof that marketing pays off because what they have done is absolutely blown away the competition somewhat and just elevated themselves. Now, I know people and brands like to post Twitter and try to market themselves that way, or videos. You've got like KFC doing like weird things with the Colonel, or Wendy's tweeting, or Burger King tweeting. I think Popeyes may have taken the social media and killed it. What they've done, if you didn't know, is take their sandwich that they've created and basically taken the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and made it better. Now, I will state before we get into this that no, I have not tried this. I have not compared, but I plan to, and next week when I come back, I will let you guys know what I think about it. But what they have done is basically challenge Chick-fil-A for the best sandwich, best chicken sandwich, and honestly, people are saying it is better. Now, I've seen articles saying it is way better, and I've seen articles saying it is worse. I've also had some first-hand accounts talking to people saying, yes, this is good, I think it is better. I actually had a coworker today say they went to Popeyes. The line was absurd. They got the only parking spot available. They got the sandwich, drove to Chick-fil-A, got the sandwich, and ate both in Chick-fil-A. And they said, if you don't care about health, Popeyes is better. What they mean by that is it's greasy, but it's fried chicken, for crying out loud. You don't eat fried chicken thinking you can be healthy. So that is something I think is very awesome and very interesting. Is Popeyes has kind of challenged chicken sandwich with Chick-fil-A, which is predominantly, let's just say, the better chicken sandwich, or maybe the best before this Popeyes one, at least in my area for sure. Now nationwide, people could have other sandwiches that they think are better. That's not what I'm talking about. Chick-fil-A is a solid sandwich for fast food in general, and this is something that I think Popeyes is coming at them full force and is absolutely doing what they need to be able to beat what is equivocally this whole thing that Chick-fil-A has done. Chick-fil-A has built up a great reputation for good service and good food and quality and all that. And Popeyes probably hasn't had that service, but if they make enough money here with this sandwich and figure out how to bring everything else with it, they can definitely step up their game. And I think this is where they're starting to do this. Because, I mean, let's be realistic. If I would have said Popeyes a week ago, 2 weeks ago, you probably wouldn't have wanted to go. If I would have said Chick-fil-A, at least 4 people that I work with would have been okay with going to Chick-fil-A, if not excited about that. So I think Chick-fil-A is a great place to eat, but I think Popeyes might be coming after them. I've heard good things about this sandwich. I need to try it for myself, but I think this could be something that overtakes Popeyes. And I mean, overtakes Chick-fil-A, and that's being Popeyes. And if Popeyes can get their act together, I mean, their fries are pretty good. It's Cajun fries. Let's talk about Chick-fil-A's fries. They're waffle fries and they're boring. I'm not a huge fan of them. Now, my wife loves them, but I don't understand that at all. But Popeyes has good fries. If this sandwich is good, I might be eating at this Popeyes that is close to my work more often. So that is kind of the deal there. It's come out of absolutely nowhere. Their marketing team has done a phenomenal job, and they have done great with that. So I give up the props to Popeyes because they're rivaling Chick-fil-A, which is absolutely insane. Which is leading me to the absolute last thing on this list before I wrap up, and that is this James Charles Twitter storm. At least that's kind of what I've said here. And this is absolutely going to be ridiculous. If you haven't heard about this or anything like that, I'm going to lay it out for you. I'm not going to show any pictures or anything because if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm not showing you pictures. If you're looking for it, go to Twitter or go to Google and search for this, James Charles, and this, I mean, it's just hilarious. So apparently what had happened is James Charles had gotten hacked, and the hacker said, hey, if you don't do a certain thing, we're going to post your nudes. And so James Charles, from what I understand, posted a nude that was basically just his butt, and it's absolutely hilarious that he posted this on Twitter, and people took off with this. Now he said, hey, just in case I get hacked, this is my butt, blah, blah, blah. Basically, instead of letting someone else release his nudes, he did it himself and kind of was trying to be in the forefront or take advantage of that publicity instead of letting it take him down. He tried to turn it into a positive spin. But Twitter is crazy. If you've ever been on Twitter, you will understand this, and it is very funny, very wild, and I think absolutely love that this happened. But absolutely ridiculous this is people started doing the same thing. Now, I love Twitter, and there's people that I follow, like Ethan Klein from H3H3 or the H3 podcast. There's Ricky Berwick. There is like Keemstar. There are a ton of people. There was even Boogie2998, 2988, whatever. You know who I'm talking about. All of these people basically took what James Charles did and took a funny spin on it, and man, did they make this absolutely ridiculously funny. I saw freaking Ethan Klein with that that cottage cheese, but you know he's rocking it. You know if you looked at it, you're laughing hard. I literally had to pull it up and laugh so hard. Then I saw a picture of him in an ice cream cone, like a waffle cone, with freaking Ethan Klein's butt. It was cracking me up. Then he took it a step further and said, "Someone, please Photoshop my butt onto James Charles." And honestly, that was so funny. Like, if you are into the H3 podcast, if you're a Fupa Troopa like him, you know what he's talking about. It was absolutely hilarious, and I loved everything about it. And I was just laughing so hard. There was like a joke with Keemstar. I don't know if that one was real. It looked like it was Photoshop. I'm not complaining there. It was funny either way. Then you got Ricky Berwick hopping in on the train. He's making fun of James Charles, and it was just so great. I loved it. Now, some people were freaked out about it, but I mean, it was funny. So you guys know Ricky Berwick has a great sense of humor. He's always funny, and that's why I absolutely lost it when I saw his. I was cracking up. And last but not least, I saw Boogie, and Boogie had an old picture of him back before he lost a lot of weight, and he was like sitting on a bed, like wrapped up with like a sheet, and was naked, obviously. And oh my goodness, man, I was just cracking up. James Charles tried to come out ahead, and man, Twitter hit him hard. Like, if you guys watch the H3 podcast, you know they talk about O.J. Simpson, where he's like, "Hey, Twitter world, it's yours truly." Man, I was thinking that the whole time I saw this. It was just cracking up. Now, I want to see someone make a O.J. Simpson one of these. If it's Photoshop or if it's real, I want to see it because I'll probably laugh my butt off, no pun intended. Now, I never actually ended up seeing James Charles' butt, which is probably a good thing because, I mean, I'm not out there on Twitter looking at butts, but I thought it was hilarious how everyone kind of took what he did and just blew it up and made it way more funny. So I definitely wanted to talk about that because of just how ridiculous it was. So I'm here at the end of my list, and we're at about 45 minutes. I'm going to cut in a little ad in the middle where it broke, where the battery or where the camera stopped recording. So if you notice that and think of anything weird, let me know. I'll plug stuff there and everything. But I want to say this was probably a pretty good podcast for me. This is the Retro Video Game Pickups podcast. What I want to do, and I'll talk about it a little bit more if you've made it this far, is talk about recent pickups are going to be something I talk about on every podcast because this is Retro Video Game Pickups. Without the pickups, there would be no channel, there would be none of this, none Instagram, no Twitter, no podcast, nothing of the sort. So I want to always make sure I talk about recent pickups. I want to talk about recent games that are releasing that week or that month because honestly, that is something that I wish I had more access to content-wise. I wish more people were letting that out and talking about what they think is going to be best, not based on what the IGNs of this world. I want to know what actual gamers or people that are not getting paid a ton of money to tell you that this game is good. I want to know what the game is actually genuinely good. And then I'll talk about random crap from like GameStop today, Minecraft. I mean, we talked about the Switch Lite. We talked about Popeyes. We talked about PewDiePie. Talked about James Charles. We talked about all this kind of fun stuff. And honestly, I want to keep doing this. I will keep doing this. And if you guys are happy about it, let me know. Check me out on Twitter. Message me. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. Comment below if you're watching this on YouTube. All that kind of stuff. I want to say thank you so much. And hopefully we can grow this and keep doing this and have a ton of fun. Now I will say thank you so much for watching, listening, whatever you decided to do. If you're on YouTube, if you are on you're on iTunes, if you are on Podbean, if you're on Stitcher, however you're watching this, however you're consuming this, I want to say thank you so much. You are the whole reason I do this. I want to do this because I enjoy it and it's a lot of fun and I can be creative, but I also want to entertain you guys. So if you have anything you want me to talk about in the next coming weeks or a topic that kind of goes in wherever, I'll fit it where I can and definitely make sure to cover it. But I want you guys to know that this is a podcast that I want to do weekly and I want to deliver between 30 minutes and an hour's worth of content for you guys to enjoy. So with that being said, I want to say thank you so much one more time. This is the Retro Video Game Podcast and signing off saying see you later.